As you guys can see up on the screen today, I wanted to talk a little bit about Progenity Incorporated. This is ticker symbol PROG, or Prog stock as it is most commonly known on the internet, Reddit, Twitter, YouTube, different social medias all over the place. This is a stock with a very, very passionate and very, very active following on a lot of these different social media platforms, and that is what has helped, gain it a lot of success over the past couple of months. As you guys can see on this 6-month chart here, this thing has gone from 67 cents, to what is this here? $4.89, 52-week highs of $7.86. This thing has been so volatile. It came roaring all the way back from the depths. I mean, this thing was dead. Again, 67 cents when this thing started the year at $4.77. From the beginning of the year, this thing was down, 86%, and to bounce all the way back from that, a lot of people had to be invested, a lot of people had to be excited, a lot of people had to be behind this thing. But today we're going to be talking about why there is still, despite some of these recent successes, despite, the past 4, 5, 6 months being pretty good overall for Prog stock, especially when you zoom out a little bit from things recently, why there is still a lot of doubt, why there is still a lot of uncertainty, why there is still a lot of, haters or naysayers for this stock. So definitely drop a like if you guys do enjoy this video. I would appreciate that so much. And subscribe to today and all my latest content. With that being said, let's get right into this one. Prog has not been doing that great recently. Again, we saw this period, this was like the golden age of Prog stock. September, October, November, we just kept going up and up and up, and people were hoping that the year would end super strong for Prog. And then, there was also the hopes of a short squeeze sending it even higher, and then who knows what exactly happened in December, whether it was just, people moving on to other stocks, whether it was, short sellers coming and pushing this thing back down, whether it was tax loss harvesting, or just an overall, a lot of stocks not doing very great in the market because of Omicron variant or, inflation risk or just whatever is going on at this point. December has not been very good for Progenity. Obviously, this month they are down, I believe it is right around 36%. I was going to say like 20%, but they're actually down 36% this month. They're down 20% this week. And today, they were down another 0.5%. Now, what was very, very interesting to me about today is that we kind of had a fake out. This thing closed yesterday at $2, and then at open, or a little bit after open, this thing shot up to $2.20. Prog was up 10%, like less than an hour into the market open today, and I know some people were definitely getting excited. Some people were definitely, thinking that this was the return of Prog. But just how it's been going for Prog recently, obviously, those gains did not hold. This thing got beat right back down, going from up 10% up in a single day to actually closing down on the day. And then we had this article coming out about Prog as well today from investorplace.com talking about Progenity is still a sell as company lacks catalyst. They say here that Prog stock has next to nothing to recommend about it. So this is obviously very, very strong words. So let's dive into this a little bit and see at least what this one contributor, Ian Bezic, is saying about the company. Giving a little history and backstory about Prog, he says this is a clinical stage biotech company. The stock completed its IPO in 2020 at $15 per share. Again, a quick reminder that we are currently at $1.99 per share. Now, maybe this is time to buy the dip. Maybe Prog is oversold. Maybe it's so beaten down that you're getting a $15 stock for $2, or maybe it's been so beaten down. Maybe it's so heavily shorted for a reason. Obviously, that is quite the fall from its IPO in just a little over a year. Obviously, at this point, headed into 2022, the company would suffer a rapid and complete fall from grace. However, at the time of the IPO, Progenity aimed to be a molecular research company and had actual products out on the market generating revenues. However, the company engaged in unfortunate business practices and got hit with fraud charges. Never a good sign. Never something you want to be associated with companies that you're invested in. That's just never, hardly ever going to be a good sign or a good thing. As things went from bad to worse, Progenity shares crashed into the low single digits. However, this fall, Progenity shares rebounded from $1 to $5, but there was no tangible news to explain the sudden jump. Again, this was that period of time where Prog really started garnering a name, really started garnering a lot of attention on, the short squeeze subreddit, on Wall Street Bets, on stock Twitter, on YouTube. This is where it made crazy runs, and this is where people made 2, 3, 4, 5, 600% gains on Prog stock. And this is where, people really started becoming fanatics and like cult-like followers of this stock. Prog was everywhere for a couple of months. But again, there's no news, so this was people, just playing off momentum, people playing off short squeeze plays, stuff like that. Rather, it appeared to be based almost entirely on the positive social media chatter in hopes of a short squeeze. Since the company has little going for it, though, that rally quickly faded as reality set in. When I last wrote about Progenity, I don't know when this guy last wrote about it. I haven't read one of his articles previously, I don't think. He warned investors that there was no reason to buy the stock, and indeed, the stock has almost lost around 40% of its value over the past month, and this is something that, I've done on this channel as well. I think it was when around Prog was at $2.70. I was saying that, from everything that I can see, from the market sentiment, from the, overall trajectory of the stock, and just from how things were looking, how things were going, and the news was coming out, it seemed like the Progenity play was dead. It seemed like Prog stock was dead, and obviously I faced a lot of backlash at that time. But again, looking at that 270 price target now, obviously things could still turn around, but anyone that was buying at 270 isn't necessarily feeling great about it being at $1.99 today, you have to imagine. When a potential short squeeze thesis breaks down, a stock can quickly plummet. Simply put, short interest alone isn't a good reason to own a stock, and that's something that a lot of people in the market right now probably don't want to hear. And beyond that, the fundamental bull thesis for Progenity is exceptionally thin. As I detailed in my previous article, the company's former line of business has been shut down, and it will likely be years before Progenity's new research direction leads to much in the way of tangible results. Clinical stage research is not a field known for overnight results. As our Will Ashroth put it recently, Prog stock is a waste of your time. Again, very, very strong words coming from all these people at Investor Place. Why is that? The company had to pay $49 million in fines to the Justice Department related to its fraud from its previous line of business. After being disgraced, Progenity had suddenly tried to pivot to new clinical research instead of remaining an established testing company. The odds of this paying off aren't too good, and the odds of it working anytime soon is minimal. Then they go into fundraising a little bit. So what's new with Progenity over the past month? There's not much. The most interesting development with Progenity was that Progenity brought in some cash from selling warrants. Specifically, Prog scored $44 million thanks to warrant exercises up through quarter 4 of 2021. Progenity also completed an exchange transaction in quarter 4, which allowed it to retire more than a third of its 2025 convertible senior notes. Prog states that with the cash it raised, it will have runway to make it through at least the next 12 months. And that's a good sign, being able to make it for 12 more months. But eventually those 12 months are going to come up. And then what's next? Then what are they going to do? Obviously, investments are very, very forward looking. 12 months. It's a decent amount of time, but what about the 13th month? What about the 24th month? What's going on then? We got to make sure we keep having plans in place, not just plans, but very, very good plans and very, very profitable plans. That should, in theory, give it enough time to reach some clinical trial data readouts. If those go well, presumably Progenity will use the buzz generated from that to sell more stocks to the public to fund further research, which again is just going to be more dilution. It's just going to make it more and more difficult to make money off this investment. This is the usual road for shoestring early-stage clinical biotech companies. Unfortunately, Progenity is burdened by the debt and reputational harm from its previous failed business ventures. This gives it significantly worse odds than many other biotech peers. And then in the end, they give a final verdict on Prog. Obviously, we know where this is headed. It doesn't seem like they had very, very many good things to say. So if for some reason you really like Progenity's clinical stage biotech program, you should be able to buy Prog stock cheaper in 2022. Again, cheaper than we're already at $1.99. And that might sound crazy. Again, after you're down 20% in a week, 36% a month, 44% in 6 months, it might be like, how much lower can this thing really go? But again, we've seen 52-week lows of 66 cents. So this thing can go actually much lower. I mean, maybe 66 cents doesn't seem that much lower than $2, but look at the percentages. That is still a very, very big and steep drop off from where we are now. This guy does say that he'd imagine, however, that almost everyone trading Progenity shares is now playing the short-term swings, and in that case, there's absolutely no reason to stick with Prog stock at this time. As the company shut down its previous line of business, there's little to look forward to in the way of earnings or positive catalysts for the foreseeable future. The $2 Prog stock of today in no way represents the same business as the one that IPO'd at $15 last year. Meanwhile, without any positive news coming in the near future, the social media buzz will fade. So again, very, very strong words obviously coming out from investorplace.com. And this is just one guy, this is just one website, one article, one person's opinions. And there's a million different opinions and ideas about what Prog stock is going to do, not only in the short term, but in the long term. But obviously, at least coming from this one guy and many other people right now, Prog stock definitely seems like a sell, and it definitely seems like one to stay away from. But we're going to see how this one plays out, and it's going to be fun and interesting to follow along the way. But definitely drop a like if you guys do enjoy this video. I would appreciate it so much. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about PROG stock. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe to today and all my latest content. Hope to catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.